Hey, this is Joe Patterson. I just wanted to start a couple of videos here, maybe get some entry or intro level charting out of the way here to get some of our people started from scratch. So hopefully these videos help you out, and I do plan to subtitle these for some of the people that need that as well. So bear with me a little bit as we do these. One of the big things that we want to look at is we use TradingView for the majority of our charting. A lot of people, there's a ton of different options out there. This is just something that we've kind of grown accustomed to using. When you get in here and you've created a free TradingView account, there's no need for a paid account. Just do a free one. You type in a currency pair in the very beginning. I'm going to use the USDCAD pair for our markups. You will notice that you get this interactive chart option. This is the chart we want to work with. So just click on that, you'll get a new window that pops up, and that new window will be something like this right here. Okay, a couple of key things. I'm colorblind, so I use a lot of bold colors just so I can tell the difference. I can't tell reds and greens apart, so if you need to use a different color for the chart itself, the pricing chart only, then by all means make that change. And you can do so by finding a clear area on the chart, right-clicking, coming down to Properties, and then making the change to the candles right here. Whatever change you make here, you'll hit Save As, give it a title, like mine is red and blue. That way, if for some reason you ever get back to a default, you can quickly come back to whatever it was that you created. Again, just for my personal sake, I use the red and the blue because I can tell them apart pretty easy. Alright, when we come into these charts, the very first thing that we want to do is we want to switch our charts to monthly. You'll notice we have the currency pair listed here at the top. Right next to it, you may have it on a 1 hour chart or a 4 hour chart or whatever it is, but you just want to click on it, come down to the bottom here and click on monthly, 1 month. That'll give you a chart that looks something like this. I'll zoom in here with your mouse. You can roll in, roll out, and get closer or further away on your chart. But you'll notice my blue lines coming up, these are candles. And the red lines coming down, these are candles. My blue is up, so the price is moving up. My red, the price is moving down. Okay. Couple key things here. You can click in a clear area on the chart, move your chart left, right. Pretty much put it wherever you want to when you zoom in or zoom out. On the far right, you can adjust the height of your chart, how close together the price points are. You might need to do this if you zoom way in. Good example, like this right here, you may want to look at this with a little bit stronger candle reference so you can spread the pricing out. For the sake of this course here, what we're going to do is we're going to go to a monthly calendar chart, and we want to see back to basically the beginning of time. On the USDCAD pair, that basically, you see here to the left, is 1994. So this chart represents from 1994 to today's current price. Every candle is 1 month long. So everything that happened inside of a single candle happened for the entire month. And as you get closer and break these things down, you'll see what's inside of those candles. So, again, for our basic charting, we've got the entire chart in view on a monthly scale. And we want to change our candles to lines. Okay? So you'll simply come up here next to where your MO for month is. The next thing, you'll change your candles to line. If you need to make any adjustments to your chart, left, right, up, down, just grab it, move it around to where you want it. You want to kind of have it centered on your page. And then the very next thing we're going to do is we're going to come over here to the left, and the second icon down, yours could be this trend line or one of these other things that's here, but it's the second one down. You want to click on the little arrow and you want to grab the horizontal line. Okay? When you do that, The first thing you want to do is come up here and mark the very top of your chart, whatever the highest price point is, and just click. Okay? If your line is not already blue at this point, what I'd like you to do is come over here to this pencil and change this line to blue. The color for this needs to be specific. All of your monthly colors that you do on your chart, a monthly chart, should be in blue. Okay? If you need a thicker or thinner line, the next little icon, you can adjust that here. For my high points in my monthly chart, I tend to use a thicker line. I use the third one. Okay? So you've got your first line there at the very top of the chart. Now you come over and grab another line, and you want to do the same thing for the bottom of the chart. What you're doing here is you're marking the all-time high and the all-time low that this currency pair has seen on a monthly scale. Okay? Don't worry about these little pop-up boxes. On a free account, you're going to get them. Just X them out. No big deal. Now you're going to come over and you're going to grab another line, and you're going to start marking basically peaks. And what I mean by peaks is, you see how this price point comes up and it creates a peak right here? What we're looking for is multiple peaks. Okay? I want to be able to see where something has touched a specific line, typically at least 3 times, or if there is a very significant price change, such as this one right here, where this made a huge price change. Regardless of what happened over here or over here, I would mark this because it's a very significant price change in this long trend here that happened over a couple of year period. Okay, so we're not looking to make this entire screen blue. What we're looking to do is mark our major areas where we see that something has happened. So our first line here, you see this peak here, the bottom of this peak here, and the top of this peak here. There's 3 peaks there that happened over the course of about 2 years, and we're going to mark that area. Okay, blue line. If you want to make this a little thinner, you can, but just maintain the color, and I'll explain why here in just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and mark up what I feel are good mark zones. You may not have identical markings. This is extremely subjective. So feel free to mark your charts the way that you feel are best. Now, in between each of these blue lines that we're marking, you might hear some of us refer to these as zones. The reason we call them zones is because on a monthly chart, the lines that you're creating, these are very strong support and resistance lines. You're going to find that price action is actually going to consolidate around these lines a lot of times, and when we break through from one side to the other, you'll notice that price tends to move in a more rapid fashion through these zones. And again, as we progress through this, I'll show you more and more of that. Now, one key thing to remember here is, if you have not marked up a chart and you're trying to mark up a chart for the first time in order to take a trade, or you're just wanting to confirm something, you do not have to go through and mark up every bit of this chart. You can work in the area known as the price action zone, since that's where you're dealing with things. And what that'll do is it'll give you the information for that period of time that you're currently dealing with, and you can come back later and mark up the rest of the chart if you wanted to. Okay. Again, these pop-ups, just close them out. Sometimes you'll get this big one. Just hit hide for now. Again, there's no need to buy the subscription for this. So what I mean by price action zone, the price right now is this very end of this line. So your price action zone is roughly this area right here. This is the area you're dealing with for today's pricing, and what we're looking at in the past as to what's going to happen in the future. So, alright, this is the end of marking up your monthly chart. It's really that simple. You're creating these zones. I use a little more lines than some people do. Again, this is entirely up to you. You can get as detailed with this as you want or not. So you've marked up your zones in blue. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to come over here to the monthly button, click it, get your drop down, and switch to a daily chart. You'll notice the lines went from being almost the full width of your screen to this very narrow area. First thing you want to do is use your mouse, squeeze this back together until you get back to around the 2014 area. This is going to give you roughly 4 years. You could even go back to 5 years if you want to, but you get about 4 years worth of data here. And then you want to take on the right hand side, you're going to bring this and stretch it up to fill your screen back up so that you can see everything. Also, if you notice, I'm still in my line chart. I have not switched back to a candle yet. Okay? Alright, very important part right here. I want you to go grab a line, come to a wide area, okay, and just click that blue line. Leave your mouse there so that you know which line that is, the one with the dot. Now I want you to change the color of that line to red. Okay? See how that changed? Everything you do on a daily chart should be done in red. So, we're going to focus on our price action area. Okay, remember price action, here's the current price, it's going to be a zone or two above and below where your price is. So basically we're working in this area right here. That's my main focus. So if you want to mark above here or you want to mark below here down the road, by all means go do that. Okay, but you grab a hold of that dot or anywhere on that line and you'll be able to move it up and down, make adjustments to it. So the same thing, we're looking for strong areas where there are multiple touches. Okay, I'll get this line out of the way for a second. If you see how much action there is here, it's very hard to find a defined peak area. Sometimes you might want to slide this out a little bit further, maybe widen it up some, and make the area you're working with a little easier to see. Okay, feel free to do that as much as you need to. Anyways, go back and grab your red line. This is our current price right here. So I want to come, not the zone that I'm in, but at least one zone above it. And I want to start marking strong areas. You notice I'm marking this line here. This is a very strong reversal in price. Okay. Back here in the past, you can see this little hiccup we had here. I'm going to zoom in for a second. You can see where price came up, it dipped back down, it came back up again. That's actually fairly important to realize, especially since it matches up with a big change in price here, and this very strong change in price here. So you can see how the past is already starting to dictate what happened in the future on these charts. And you're going to find this happens very, very frequently, and that's the reason we do these markups. Okay, so again, grabbing my line here at the left, okay, you're already going to be on red since you changed that one line to red. You want to come down, mark again your strong areas. In this particular case, once you're on the daily, between the blue lines, you really shouldn't need more than 2 to 4, maybe 5 lines that you're adding in here. Okay, you don't want it to be so chaotic that you can't tell what's going on. And again, the markups are completely subjective. I'm telling you what we're looking for, so you have to define what you think fits that criteria. Okay? So for this particular zone, that's all I'm going to mark up here. I'm actually going to move this one slightly up here. Okay? Now, I'm going to come down to the next zone here, grab my line again, and continue to mark these up. The more peaks that you see, more price changes you see along a line, the more valid that particular line will be. Okay, good example is this one right here. Remember, we're only going back, right now I'm zoomed into 2016, so we've only got a little better than 2 years here. I've got a touch, a touch, a touch, a touch, a touch, a touch, a touch. This hiccup in price right here. Another peak right here. These were close. Another peak here, another peak here. So you can see how valid that particular line is. I would be willing to bet you, as price comes up here, that line is going to be very important to us. That's why we're doing this. So grab another line. Don't worry about the noise. If you heard that cha-ching, I've got another program running. Okay. So this is my current price action area that we're in. You see the price is this dotted line that I have. We're in this zone. So this zone is very important to me for markup. So I want to be as precise as I can, but not, again, not so chaotic I can't tell anything apart. I'm going to go ahead and mark this one zone here below it, and then we'll move on to the 1 hour chart. I'm sorry, the 4 hour chart. Now, by doing this ahead of time and having this chart on file, you can actually print these out or save them to your computer and go back and reference them if you'd like. The good thing is you can move anything you want, get rid of anything you want, make adjustments, whatever you want to do. The chart's yours, it's on your login, so take advantage of that. And you know, if you're going to ride a trend like this particular trend right here, this was over the course of about 4 months, 3 or 4 months, and you might ride that trend on one trade all the way down, but there's a whole bunch of other trades you could take in here. So you could zoom into that trade and have it printed out, something for you to work with and progress with. So anyways, coming back out now, we've marked up our price action zone for the daily chart in red. Okay, now I'm going to explain the reason for the colors. If you share a chart with me or anybody else on our team, and we're all using the same color configuration, I can look at this picture and automatically know that our price is coming through a very strong area in the blue line, because I know that blue is a monthly line. It's a monthly resistance line. The red lines are on a daily basis, so they're not as strong as the monthly lines are. If we all use a bunch of different colors, nobody has a clue what this line is, because what we're going to be looking at is a zoomed in picture like this, and I have no idea what these are unless I know that your monthly lines are blue, your daily lines are red, your 4 hour lines are green. So you can, hopefully you can kind of get an idea what the importance is of the color coding for these things. Your candles, that's entirely up to you. Like I said, I use red and blue because I can see them. If you want to use red and green or pink and purple, that's up to you. So, alright, we're finished with the daily. We're going to switch the daily down to a 4 hour chart. Okay? 4 hour chart. Next thing we're going to do is switch our line back to candles. Okay? We don't want hollow candles or Heikin-Ashi candles. We want regular candles, the second one down. Now position your chart. Oop, wrong button, sorry. Position your chart. Zoom in on it so you can see it, stretch it out. Give yourself a good price action area to work with. Okay. Part of the same thing here. We're going to go grab a line, find a clear area here and click it. And then we want to change this color to green. Okay? I'm going to assume that's green. I honestly can't tell the difference in this line and this line, but I'm going to run with it for this little lesson. So, first thing we want to do is if we've had a significant price change of direction in the area that we're dealing with, like we did right here, price came up and now it's come down, I want to mark the top of that. It's obviously a significant area. If you have data to the left of it, you can zoom in, zoom out, you'll probably find there's an area over here that kind of matches up to what we're doing. And like this right here, you can see price is very consolidated in these areas. Your 4-hour chart, kind of like your monthly and your daily, it's a resistance zone or a supply and demand zone that is not as strong as your monthly, not as strong as your daily, but it's still a significant area to pay attention to. This is what's going to help you when finding your entry points for your swing trades and day trades. So again, green line, want to come in. If you need to zoom in on these here, by all means do that. Stretch your chart out, move it around. You're wanting to mark areas, basically areas of consolidation or areas where price has made significant change. And again, between the red lines or a red and a blue line, you don't want more than about 3, maybe 4 lines total. Okay. At some point this is going to look like a clown is thrown up on your screen, so you've got to be able to tell what's going on. As you can tell, like on this particular set of candles here, the reason we turn these candles on, these wicks are very important, which we'll learn more about wicks later, but you can see price changed from this candle to this candle. This candle wicked it, this candle wicked it, this candle wicked it, this candle wicked it. It's obviously a very important area. That's why we're marking these things. Okay, I'm going to come down one more section here between these red lines and mark these. And basically, I'm going by major wicking of the candles or price changes, like this change in price right here. As we get further along in these courses and you start training with other trainers, you're going to find that the 4-hour, the 1-hour, these charts, some people do some different things with them. Predominantly, we're all doing the same thing. We're just a little different in technique. Okay. Okay. So I've marked up my chart for my 4-hour chart. So I'm going to get out of this here, and I'm going to show you what we've got. So I'm going to back up to a monthly chart now. See, my lines are all chaotic. Just use your slide bar. Get it back in control. Okay, this is the monthly chart again, all the way back to 1994. Okay, you can see how chaotic the lines get. That's why when we share charts with each other and we're talking about a price action area, we typically zoom in, give ourselves a little bit of the past, a little bit of the future, give us some room to work, and you can see a little better what's going on, and you can widen these things out if you need to. Overall, though, this chart right here, this is something I would personally print out. I save these, I put them in a little binder, and I'm looking for strong trends. And I actually save the PDF of these also because I can print extra copies of them. I'll take a ruler and a pencil and mark these up sometimes if I don't have internet access for some reason. But again, this is whatever you want to do with them at this point. The main thing is you're getting strong areas of support and resistance, your blue lines. Your red and your green are helping to define those areas. Switch this back to a day and stretch it out. Your red and your green lines, they're defining within those heavy support and resistance areas that we break through where you're going to find more consolidation. Okay, so let's go through a couple of quick examples here of what I mean by all of this. Again, this is back on a daily chart. If you look back in the past here, we have a blue line here, we have a blue line here, okay? These are not breakthroughs. These are just where price may have been news, it may have been just a period of time that, we got a little extra price bump, but a breakthrough is when it continues, okay? Like this right here is a breakthrough where price continues onto a whole nother zone. and starts working. Typically with these here, what we look for is once we break through, we get a retest. If the retest continues back in the direction of the breakthrough, then it was a breakthrough. If it doesn't retest and come back into that zone and it goes back, then it was just a price movement. But again, this blue line, you can see where price, it basically bounces off this blue line. Okay, down here in this blue line, you can see where price bounced. Okay, and then you can see where all these red and the green lines are, where price, it just kind of, it follows a trend. We get into these zones, and that's how we can predict the future to some degree, is by looking at what happened in the past and saying that these are actually very strong areas to pay attention to. You can see here, we tried to break through, we retested, didn't make it, so we came back into this zone, bounced right off of this resistance area here, bounced off of it again, and this time we broke through. We came up and we stayed in between the blue lines again, and you'll notice that this particular line here became very important. Bounced off of it, bounced off of it, bounced off of it. This line became very important. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Okay? So knowing that, when you look at today's chart, these are some important areas to consider. This area here. This area here. You can see even in the current charts, we bounced off of it. Came in here, we had some consolidation all around it. We broke through, retested it, didn't make it, broke through again, now we're off to the races. Okay. Hopefully this has given you just a real broad overview of marking up a chart, just the very basics. If you do this for all of your major pairs, basically any USD pair that we have, including the USD NZD, the CHFs, the Euro USD, the Aussie USD, GBP USD, USD JPY, and the USDCAD. Those are your top 6 pairs that we base most of our trading off of. Okay. This will give you a lot of information when a trade comes out, such as a swipe trade, that you can look and see, you know, why did they think we should have got in a trade right here? You know, what made them think that when price was way back here? Well, you can see it bounced off this line. They were expecting this bounce because of this major supply and demand zone, or I'm sorry, support and resistance zone. In this case, it's a support zone. So bounced off the support, came back up, had some consolidation issues going around this one here for resistance, got above it. So you can see the trends that we're setting up here and what we're trying to follow. Hopefully this has helped you out a little bit, and if you have questions, please drop them in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them as we go. And feel free to share this video with as many people as you like, whether they're in our group or not. Hopefully it'll help somebody, and I will see you on the next one.